Hello and welcome to Video Revealed. I'm Colin Smith. We're going to look at cinematic aspect ratios in Adobe Premiere Pro. Let's clear up what aspect ratio means. Ratio meaning the relationship between two measurements, the width and the height. And it's always the width first times the height. And 16 by 9, you've probably heard that, or 4 by 3. I'm not going to go through all the different iterations. We're just going to concentrate on the cinematic ones. And really there's two that we're going to concentrate on. And that's 239, sometimes called 240, which is incorrect. It's 239 to 1 and 185 to 1. So they always use 1 as the vertical and the other is the ratio between the first number and the second number. So typical 16 by 9, which you hear a lot, is also called 178 to 1, and 4 by 3 is 133 to 1. Then there's lots of other ones over the years that are not used. So primarily 185 to 1 and 239 to 1. And I'll put all the formula information in the description so you can see how to make this. So what a lot of people will attempt to do is put black bars on the top. So put a graphic on the top and a graphic on the bottom and deal with it that way. I don't like that because it's an extra asset that you have to manage. I like to use the crop effect, and we can use the crop effect on an adjustment layer, which means that we can change this anytime. Even better, you can reposition the media within the crop. Let's go have a look. So here's a perfect example of a cinematic look, and this is all in an HD frame. And it works for this one beautifully, but for this one, it's chopping off Haley's head right there. So we would have to reposition that. But let's make this from scratch. So I'm going to move this over and keep this for later. So I've got 3 of these sitting over here. And I'm going to make an adjustment layer. And in Premiere Pro, if you just click on the new item and choose adjustment layer, it will always make the adjustment layer based on the sequence that we have in the front. So mine is 1920 by 1080. I'll click OK. And it's a good idea to label this as I've done down here, HD 239, 251, 185. So I'm just going to drag this over the top and drag it out. Make sure it's selected, and in the effects controls, I'm going to search for crop. With that selected, double click, go to my effects controls, and you can see in the crop, I have a top and a bottom crop. So if I move this up and down, I'll take away that crop. I've gone to the trouble to figure out the crop values for you. So for a 239, the crop is 13% on each to the top and the bottom. So there's 13% there, 13%, and now we've got our crop. And it's on an adjustment layer, meaning if I turn the eyeball on and off, I can engage and disengage that. It's not connected to the clip itself. So now if we go over to this clip, and we see that the framing is incorrect because the crop it was never shot with that crop intended. I can select the actual clip itself, go to the motion settings, and then reposition this. And there's a limit. I can only go so far before I'm exceeding that, but at least I can bring that down. And now I've got those 2 set up. And then the last one, again, maybe we're losing a little bit of that top, again, because it wasn't shot with that in mind. Some cameras will actually have indicators that you can drop on to see what that framing is. On my Blackmagic, I don't have that. So, and I never intended this to be shot crop-wise. If I had, I probably would have zoomed out a little bit to allow reframing. Okay, well, let's look at the other one. And again, to change that, I can just select the same layer and change the number. So for 185, it's only a 2% crop on both of these. So you can see the crop is not even anymore, and that's because the clip has been moved. So if I reset the position of that clip, You can see now it works for 185. And let's go back over and look at this one. Again, it's now showing the movement. So I'm going to have to put that back over to there. So there's our scene now with 185. I want to go back to my project bin and open up a 6K file. And this is a red 6K file with, again, another adjustment layer on and the same values set in there. So 13% top and bottom to give a 239 aspect ratio. Okay, so it works regardless of whatever media you have. And if you wanted to, you could right click on crop and save that as a preset and then name that 239 or 185 or whatever. The information is not saved over here in the adjustment layer. So just because I added the adjustment layer to the right-hand side here and my effect is here, it's not on this adjustment layer. So don't think that you can take the adjustment layer and drop it on and it'll have the effect setting on it. Adjustment layers don't have any effect settings. You have to drop that on per clip. So let's go back over to this one and let's go to 139 again. So 13% on both of these. Okay. I know what you're thinking. You're probably looking at this and saying, you've cropped it, but there's black bars. Absolutely. That's what we're doing. We're cropping this within an HD frame. If you want a sequence that's a different aspect ratio than HD or 16:9, then you have to make that. If we go and look at creating a new sequence, click in here and choose New Sequence. And there are a number of settings right away. You'll notice that in the red settings, there are some that are listed so if we go to our 5K, you'll see some of these are listed as 2:4:1, FF being full frame. So some of these have some kind of indication on them. But if you wanted HD versions of these to truly look like, to truly be a sequence, then you have to make this at 1920. And if we're going to do the 239, 1920 by 803, click OK. Now when we bring our media in here, it's going to warn us that the settings are wrong. I'm going to keep the existing settings. And now we've got the same thing, but it's in a cropped sequence. And you can see here's our 239. It again needs to be reframed. So again, I'll go back over here and pop that down. So one is going to be in a HD frame with the black bars. This will chop it off. We can also crop and change this on the way out. So let's go back over to the HD sequence and I'll export this out, Control M or Command M on the Mac. And you'll see our source setting over here, we could actually crop this right now. And if we wanted to crop this, we can set that up, drag that down, and crop that here. It's still going to be black bars. If we truly do want this cropped, you have to be careful on the output setting here that if you scale this up or scale to fill, it could be doing some nasty things in here. But this is a way to crop this without the bar. So this way we could be bringing in full frame, not adding the adjustment layer, and cropping it here. The real setting is over here on the right-hand side. So if we look down here at our size, again, it's down to 1920, 1080. So if we use the same settings as I showed you in the sequence setting, so if I turn this off, we export this out, leave this, don't scale this, don't crop it at all. Instead, if we change this, turn off the link between the aspect ratio, because this is going to keep the 16:9, but if we turn that off, and again, like before, make this 803, then Now it's going to crop that off if we scale that to fill. We're still going to have our problem though with some of the things being cut off. So I just wanted to show you that there are several different ways to do this. Most likely you're going to want to do this within the sequence settings, either adding the crop value in the aspect ratio of the clip or creating a sequence that is already the aspect ratio that you want. Okay, one last thing to understand is that if you crop this to a cinematic aspect ratio and export this out and upload it to YouTube, YouTube will add the black bars no matter what. It's not going to respect whatever frame size you had. It's just going to do its own thing and override your settings. All right. So again, just a few interesting cinematic kind of looks that you can add. I like the adjustment layer with the crop effect because it's easy to turn on and off and save that preset and reuse it somewhere else. All right, if you found this informative and you're new to Video Reveal, please take a moment and subscribe. You want to support us like our wonderful patrons over on Patreon, then join us over there and tell us what you think about Video Reveal. There's also a donate button now added to the front page. So, hey, if you feel so inclined, you think this is useful, give us a donation. Till next time, I'm Colin Smith, and it's my job to get you looking your best.